evening, and welcome to the Woman to Woman Show. My name is Sandra Campbell. I'm your host for this evening's topic. This evening's show is all about the election results and getting out the votes. I'd like to ask everybody that's on that we're going to do a little different today. I want to welcome everybody that has chimed in. And what we're going to ask you that you do when you get ready to ask a question, please give us your name and a little information about you. And again, welcome to the show. We started this conversation last Thursday on Woman to Woman. We were talking about the results of the Illinois primary 2026. During the course of the conversation, it was revealed that only 25% of eligible voters actually participated. Several of us have gone on this campaign to try to get out the vote for this upcoming midterm. It's essential that you come out and that you vote. And yes, you vote blue. I'm not afraid and not ashamed to say it. People say, well, what's blue? That's called Democrat. Again, they're not doing everything that we want them to do, but they're not the hellions that the conservative Republican Party is. The Republican Party is all about authoritarianism, of being authoritarians, and about oligarchs and fascism. That's not what we're for. I understand many people are saying we talk about democracy. Many people say, well, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. Okay, we still have a voice. Under fascism and with these oligarchs, we don't have a voice. As a matter of fact, I guess they plan on turning us into some kind of weird indentured servants slash slaves. I'm not really sure what those nuts are thinking. And I really don't care because it's not happening. I'm not laying down for it. So what we want to do, like I said, 25% of the registered voters for Chicago, Cook County, Chicago Board of Elections, and we have some of the results. But the amazing thing too, the results are still unofficial. So we shared that information. For those of you who want to take a gander at it, you can give me a text. Well, everybody here knows my number, luckily, that's on here. Just text
You
me and
can
I'll
you
give
can share it if you want to share it from your screen.
no, I think that'll be a little. It's 14 pages long,
But
and
you can
so
share it.
and I've downloaded it in the PDF form.
Okay.
So again, if you want, I know some people do have it, and I did share it with our group, Wanda, the group text message that we have. It is
Oh,
available also in that text message. And so what we talked about now, one of the things we noticed that is a lot of young people have decided, young adults, I'm not going to say young people, and some that are 50, maybe 55, I'll say 55 down to 18, have decided that their vote doesn't count. We've heard a lot of that. Margot even shared with me where she went out that Wednesday after the vote, which was March the 18th, and she actually had some people tell her that. The parents were saying, yes, I vote, and I've told them to vote. But one of the things that stuck out with us was the fact that the parents said, but I never told them why they should vote. And they let Margot know at that time that they wouldn't be voting. She's trying to have a rapport with them. I, too, have a very close, I would say, family member who let me know, yes, he's registered to vote, but he doesn't vote because he feels that his vote doesn't count. We immediately went into this long conversation, and we still haven't convinced them yet to vote. But that is something we all need to do. We need to reach out to anyone and everyone that we know that did not vote during the primary, ask them why, and see if we can get a commitment from them to vote. This is one of the most critical votes in the last 60 years. What is it, 1964, 65, 68? It was critical times then. Blacks fought and died for the opportunity to vote. It's your privilege and it's also your responsibility to cast your ballot. And in order to get through this and get rid of non-functioning Republicans, we're going to have to vote them out of office. Yeah, a few of them have died. I think two or three have died since Trump came into office, but we don't want to wish death on everyone. But so what we can do is actually take the position of talking to everyone we know and convincing them to vote and to vote blue. I can't stress how much you need to tell them to vote blue. We can't trust and depend on the same people that are sitting there now to do the right thing. Anybody have any questions? And please feel free to jump right in. I heard a Rose also came up with an idea when we talked about getting people to vote. Now we're going to kind of date ourselves because back in the day, I remember you could show where you got your stub from your ballots. Yes, ballots used to be paper, and they were like cardboard, stiff paper. And they would give you your ballot, which also was your ballot number was also on that stub that they gave you. Oh, okay. We see we got a hand raised. Jillian.
I was just going to, I'm Jillian. Um, I was just going to give some input because I talked to a couple of people since last week also, just to, get a feel of what people are thinking. So I'm a millennial. I talked to um, another millennial and one Gen Z, Gen Zer, and pretty much so neither one voted, neither one thought it was important to vote. um they talked about, once again, what you mentioned, not being educated on the importance of voting and not really knowing the process. And so we got to talking about like different schools, and they said they never were like they never really got into the voting education even in school. And so that was a difference I noticed in me and them. And they are from two different areas. One is from the west side, one is from um almost north. And I said, so you guys never like the process. You guys did do the mock voting thing in school, even in grammar school, when you were learning, about the Constitution and stuff. They said no, that they had never heard of that. That was like foreign to them. And so they never learned the importance. And I think that's the thing with a lot of the ones that are voting, and that's a big difference. I had teachers, grammar school, my grammar school teacher, 7th and 8th grade, he like stressed to us the importance of voting. We had a teacher, Mr. Pawlowski, in high school. We took civics and world history with him. He stressed it. We had voting and the different political parties and different examples of political parties and what they had did to the country, and like went in depth about what can happen if your vote is not cast, and who somebody's in office, and even down to your alderman. He broke it all the way down. So that's a big thing. They don't even know why they're voting. They don't think their vote is going to count. They don't know how the process and how it works. They don't know. They didn't even know about the electoral college. So that's something. Yeah, but they're not being educated like some people are, even starting in school.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think we kind of touched on that a little bit about making sure finding a way of letting them know again the different offices like governor. What is the governor's role? And coming on down, not only from governor, what does your alderman do? What does your committeeman do? What is your even down to the water reclamation commissioners and what is their role in the community? And again, the judges, if you want to change the outcome that go things that happen in court, for those judges that are elected, you have to participate in the process. That means you need to cast your ballot, you need to vote. Does anyone else have something to say? I'm trying to make sure I watch the hands. And one of the other things that when talking about what their roles are in casting your ballots, this administration has currently set up a terrible situation with the United Postal Service. I heard about this thing with the United Postal Service maybe the end of February when the Supreme Court put out a ruling stating that we could not sue the U.S. Postal Service for mail either being delayed or not delivered, even if it's intentional. It stuck out because when they said it, even if it's intentional, because I'm thinking that's the purpose of the U.S. Post Office is to deliver mail. And for you to be able to say, I'm not going to deliver your mail and you're still going to be paid and that's your mission. And even if you deliberately say, I'm not going to deliver your mail, how do you allow that? Well, fast forward 4 weeks to where we are now, the current administration has been proposing that they eliminate mail-in ballots, which again, mail-in ballots are not only used for people who are seniors, people who are homebound, people who may be out of the country or out of the state because maybe they're taking care of a loved one, college students, military members. You see, it's a large group of people, those who, again, where their polling place may be 25, 30 miles away, because it is that way in some locations. Everybody doesn't have a polling place immediately like we do here in the city of Chicago. Some of them are required to drive a distance. So what they do, they mail in. And even members of the city of Chicago, they mail in. Through this conversation, I discovered that in California, they had 73% of their ballots were mailed in.
Mm.
That right there adversely impacts them and keeps them from voting. Same with the people that live in these rural areas that don't have a polling place that they can get to easily. So now you cancel out all those military members, because military members with their deployment, many a times they don't change their address where they would receive their driver's license is still registered to their home address, which is usually their mom's home or their home, however they got it set up. Their car is still registered to that address, and they also vote using that address. So now they're saying no mail-in ballots. You're saying now that they can't vote, and that means even if they're here and they got an assignment in the United States, and look at those that are over in Italy and whatnot. So you're saying now they can't cast their ballots. So they can't be part of the process. That needs to be stopped. And what they're asking people to do is to contact your senator, your congressman, and they're hoping that the attorney generals in each state would get involved, because the administration is overreaching again. The states determine how their elections are ran. Every state determines how their elections are ran, not the federal government. Their only role is to ensure that every person has an opportunity to vote and they don't have to pay to vote. Because what they're doing with trying to do with the Save Act is nothing but a polling tax. Because you have to spend money in order to be able to vote. You either got to get your passport. They're complaining with the fact women don't have their, when we get married, many of them change their names, but they want to turn around. They're backing it up from that a little bit with the Republican Party, because they noticed the women in the red states, they change their names, but women in the blue states, we keep our maiden name, and so therefore, we don't have a lot of stuff with our married name on it. We still keep the name as on our birth certificate. So it kind of hurts them in the South more than in the red states than it hurts us in the blue states, which they're trying to stop us from voting, by the way. It's usually more of us than it is them. So here again, they come up with this thing where you can't vote. Another thing, getting your seniors out. Seniors are your most reliable voters. And seniors have been your most reliable voters for over 40 years. Even when I was a precinct captain, and even when it came to turnout here in the city of Chicago, Daley and all the other older aldermen, they were they were depending on, and they could count on those seniors voting, because again, they remembered and they knew how hard it was to get the right to vote, and they made sure that they voted every time, primary or not, primary, general election, special election, they were voting. We need to let everybody that's not voting understand the significance of it, and also understand that if your vote didn't count, why would they be working so hard to keep you from voting? I'm sure they've heard the news. I'm sure they've seen it online. It's been everywhere where they're actually trying to stop you from voting. Now I feel like I'm doing a monologue here. Any more questions? Any ideas that you may have that we could possibly uh, put in our? I'm gonna call it. Say we got a parking garage, so we put our ideas and save for the next show. We plan on doing 3 more shows on this topic, just so we can come up with something that we could roll out in the communities and that we feel that would be effective. And I'm sorry, I forgot, I lost my thought and forgot to mention what we were talking about is rewarding people after they voted. Maybe working with the committeemen in the various wards, because Democratic and Republican, whoever, because we have to get them all involved and see what they would like to do to reward folks. I mean, it's going to be November. They might be something like a cup of coffee and a donut as a thank you, and find out again if that's even doable. And maybe even work with other organizations who are also working to try to get the vote out. Whatever incentive we can offer, or incentive, encouragement, education that we can offer, that we can provide to encourage them to participate in the process of voting, I think we need to, look at it and see if we can make it happen.
Did you want the office of the governor's role? You want me
Yeah,
to read it?
you want to read that to us, share that with
Okay.
us?
So the governor of Illinois serves as the state's chief executive officer, responsible for directing the executive branch, enforcing state laws, managing state agencies, and proposing budgets. Elected to a 4-year term, the governor shapes policy through legislation, veto powers, and executive orders, acting as the head of the state government. So that's the key role.
So you see, it's a lot that he's supposed to be doing. He's like what you would say the head of, look at the state as a company.
Yes,
He would be our CEO. He's
he's the
responsible
executive.
for keeping this company going, keeping
Yeah,
us prosperous, keeping
yeah,
us thriving, ensuring that we get the things that we need in order to keep the state running, and in order to be have a comfortable life. Uh,
yes,
from a political standpoint, I know he also. I saw him talking about electricity, because that's going to be something after we discuss the voting, and which again is it's affiliated with the voting, because the oligarchs are the ones that are decided to put up all these unnecessary data centers. I mean, they're the ones that are moving forward with making sure that they own all the land. They're buying up all the land, and they're doing this, and they're having these politicians sell out the constituents, because the politicians are not telling the truth, and and that's local. That's why we got to really get involved. That's local. We're not just talking about things that are done at the presidential level or at the congressional level. We're talking about things that are done down here at the aldermanic level, at the mayoral level, at the a township president's level. That these are the ones who are also not operating in our best interests. I mean, when it comes to, I heard one of the CEOs for one of the utilities company, I don't remember which, it's electric company. His salary was $232 million. That was his salary for the year, $232 million, which also included his bonuses. Someone at that level could care less about whether or not we can pay our light bills. But yet I'm hearing people, because of the pressure and the strain that these data centers put on the electrical grid, that the electrical bills just during this winter, this is happening as we speak, from November to present, the electrical bills have tripled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they say electrical bills are looking like house notes and car notes.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to come up with a way to actually pay that bill, and to educate people on the fact that it's not so much, even though it puts the strain on it, and you send, and it's had you your rate because of the puts the strain, and you have to send the electricity to your residents. You pay not for the rate. The rate is not what's killing you. The delivery cost goes up, because when they put that data center on that grid, the strain that the grid goes through to deliver the electricity to the other houses, that's how your bill goes up. Your rates don't change that much. They charge you for delivery. And that's something people don't understand. But that too is also a part of the political process.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm.
I think everybody's kind of in state of shock going, what?
Wow, them bills. Yeah, I
What's
mean,
based on what you're hearing, at least give me an idea of what you're thinking.
well, I can attest to the light bill going up, and the gas went up too. So,
Yeah, they
car
both went up drastically.
gas,
The light
car
bill,
gas,
especially. Yeah.
yeah, car gas is out of whack. I mean, it's out of whack. Last week, car gas was 2.89 at Sam's. This week is uh, it's 3.93. So, gas is just gone the other way.
No, I'm sorry. What happened? What you said is gone away, Wanda. I missed
I said
the
it's
last part.
gone the other way. It was two something, 2.69 at Sam's last week, and now it's 3.89.
Oh, for gasoline, yes, and
Yes.
it's going to get worse.
Uh-huh.
Yesterday or day before yesterday, because I'm trying. I heard it really late. They blew up the largest refinery in the world.
Oh, really, that's really just dandy.
And so, with that being the case, along with also the ships not being able to through the various straits, two of them are blocked, and they're talking about blocking another strait, which isn't just oil. They say 12% of all trade comes through that strait. And that one also is over near, I think, is Iran, and I don't think it's Qatar, but Iran has the ability to block that strait also.
The
Wow.
Yeah.
Red Sea.
I'm sorry, someone said
It-
something?
It's the Red Sea.
The Red is in the Red Sea. Thanks,
So
Samsung.
one side of Iran is the Strait. The other side of Iran is the Red Sea.
And so they're planning on blocking that also, also in retaliation of what went on the other night. And what the U.S. and Israel was thinking I don't get it. And like many are saying, Trump believes that because there is limited oil, that there's limited oil and petroleum. And that's another thing. Here's another thing. We can't just say oil. We all so need to say petroleum, and as well as uh, the liquid natural gas (LNG). So we're going to get hurt in every way. Oil, gas, and we're exporting liquid natural gas, which makes our gas bill higher. So gas, and now we're getting hurt by the water because of the data centers. And if nothing else, if people knew how crazy things were going to be from an ecological, surviving, living day to day standpoint, this would should be motivation for you to vote these fools out of office. Because again, they're stupid. And I say fools because I really mean fools because they're living in the same United States of America we are. This level of contamination is going to adversely impact millions and millions. I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I'm really going, well, don't you realize you get caught up in this too? I mean, so, or maybe they got a plan. Maybe they got a plan to go and live the rest of their lives out in Europe. Maybe they figure they get a couple of 100 million, 2 or 300 million dollars, and damn us, and they go live over there and live out their life, and we have to deal with this contaminated water, this lack of services, plastic goods, packaging, everything. There's so much that uses petroleum. If it's petroleum isn't in it, it's going to be the container that the product is in. As you know, our plastics are in there. Same with printing and labeling and certain things because they have a certain amount of plastic or some resilient material that comes from a refining process that's used.
Or, the biggest one. So there are a lot of things that people just don't know. So if you think your electric bill is high now, America did away with nuclear power plants. So the power that you're getting, for instance, if you're in the Midwest versus being closer to Nevada, the ones closer to Nevada are being in California is being generated by the water. The ones in the Midwest and most of the other regions, you need fuel to run the
Yes.
machine
Yes.
that generates the electricity. The other thing is you got to look at all of the little nuances, and people really aren't paying attention to all the little nuances, like you were speaking about being deployed. So there's 5,000 troops there now. They're sending another thousand from the airborne, which
Yeah,
is the
1,500.
Army,
Yep,
and then
1,500.
2,500 from the Marines.
Yeah.
So in total, that's 10,000 people that don't like what's going on that won't be able to vote.
And that's pretty much what what they're trying to do with eliminating the mail-in ballot. And the
Well,
fact, if the other scary part, if they're not able, and this is what I would watch them do, because he has his lackey sitting there as the postmaster general. If they're not able to do the Save Act and other things to stop the mail-ins, what they're going to do is tell them not to deliver it, because they took away the fact. I used to go to the post office and you stand there and you give them the letter. It's got the stamp on it, or you buy the stamp, or buy the stamp, self-stamped envelope. You would have them postmark it right there, boop boop, stamp it. They took that out of the local post offices. They can only be done maybe at a regional office, because what they were telling them was not to postmark it if we walk it in. And the only regional office I know for us would be that one that's out there on 70, what 80, no, 74th. Is that Bridgeview, Burbank? There's the post office out there where you can go in. That's the big place. The other one is up in Schaumburg. And I don't know if you can walk in at the Schaumburg location and have your mail certified for delivery.